Just imagine stepping back in time. You're wandering down this narrow lane, and history is like whispering all around you. That's Butterslip Lane in Kilkenny, Ireland.
Ah, Kilkenny. A really magical medieval city, but Butterslip Lane? Oh, it's like a hidden gem tucked away. Secret passage to the past.
Butterslip Lane. The name itself is so intriguing. It sounds whimsical almost. Does it have something to do with Kilkenny's history as like a big butter exporter?
You got it. Barrels and barrels of butter would actually slip down the lane on the way to market.
Wow. So this was like a major artery for the city's commerce.
Oh, absolutely. And what's crazy is that you can still see like traces of that history,
Yeah.
in the lane itself. So many of the buildings, they have these original stone steps and timber frames, like 17th century craftsmanship.
It must be amazing to see those architectural details and just imagine all the people, centuries ago who walked those same steps.
Yeah. It's easy to like romanticize the past though.
Right.
But life back then, it was tough. Butterslip Lane wasn't always this charming spot. The original name was Butterslip. It means slippery road because, it was muddy and treacherous back then.
Oh, wow. I guess it makes you really appreciate the transformation.
Yeah.
From muddy thoroughfare to a place that draws visitors from all over.
Yeah, for sure. And that transformation, it reflects a larger change, not just in the lane, but in Kilkenny itself, in Ireland even.
I see, I see. So in the 18th century, I read that Butterslip Lane was like a hub for blacksmiths and bakers and wig makers.
It was. Imagine the sounds, the smells, hammers clanging, fresh bread, hair powder.
Wow, what a contrast to all the modern boutiques and shops there today.
Yeah.
But even with all that change, it sounds like it still has that strong community feel, like a connection to its history.
It does, yeah. It really does.
Almost like a mini Kilkenny, a blend of history and the modern tradition and innovation. But, what really makes Butterslip Lane special is that feeling of community you mentioned.
You can really feel it. The way shop owners greet people, the conversations, the shared laughter.
Now, that's what makes a place special, that human connection, the stories, woven into the very fabric of the place. I'm curious, though, what happened to all the blacksmiths and bakers and wig makers? Did those trades just disappear? Or did they adapt and change?
It's a great question. It shows how Kilkenny has moved with the times. The decline of wig making in the 19th century, for instance.
Oh, yeah, wigs. They seem so, intrinsic to 18th century life. What happened? What made them decline?
Fashion changed, obviously. But there's more to it. Wig making in Kilkenny was tied to the wool industry, and that was huge back then. But the demand for Irish wool, it went down because of competition from other countries, so fewer wigs.
Wow. So something as small as wig making was actually connected to these big global forces. It's like a reminder that even a place like Butterslip Lane, it's part of this bigger world.
It is, and it still is. You can see it today, even in what they sell in the shops, local crafts, but also things from all over the world.
Right, right, those shops. They must be a big part of that community feel, right?
Huge. They're not just shops, they're where people gather, talk, connect. You might see friends having coffee or a shopkeeper telling stories to a visitor.
I can picture it. Sounds like a place where time just kind of slips away.
It is. It makes you slow down, appreciate the small stuff, connect with the spirit of the place.
It's funny. For a lane that used to be so muddy and treacherous, it sounds so inviting now. What would you say draws people to it today?
I think it's that mix of history and architecture and that community we talked about. You step back in time, but you're also right there in the moment.
And it's hidden away in this little lane? It makes you wonder how many other places like this are out there, just waiting to be discovered.
Right. That's what's so great about exploring. Always something new. And sometimes the best stuff is in the most unexpected places.
Speaking of discoveries, I know our listeners are always looking for those hidden gems, those special places.
And if you are, you should definitely check out our newsletter.
Yes. There's a link in the show notes. We share all kinds of cool places and travel tips.
Yeah.
To spark your wanderlust, help you see the world differently.
Butterslip Lane is a great example of the kind of hidden treasure we love to feature.
It really is. It's not just a lane. It's a story about community, about how history isn't just in books. It's alive, in these amazing places.
And even though we can't all be in Kilkenny right now, we can think about the places that matter to us, the places that connect us to the past and inspire us to explore with open hearts and curious minds.
That's beautifully put. So as you go about your day-to-day, think about those hidden gems in your own town or city, maybe a historic lane or a cool bookstore, or a cozy little cafe that you've always wanted to check out.
You never know. You might just find a Butterslip Lane of your own, a place full of history and creativity and that amazing spirit of community.
It really does sound amazing. You've painted such a vivid picture of Butterslip Lane, the history, the architecture, the community. I want to go right now. But for our listeners who might be lucky enough to actually plan a trip to Kilkenny, what's like one piece of advice to, really experience Butterslip Lane?
Hmm. It's tempting to just, walk through, take pictures, admire it. But say go deeper. Spend some time in a shop, chat with the owner, maybe even buy something. Something made locally. Don't be shy. Talk to the people who live there. You might hear a story, a perspective you won't find in any guidebook. Butterslip Lane, it's not just a pretty place. It's a living community full of stories just waiting to be shared.
It's such a great point. It reminds me that travel isn't just about, checking things off a list. It's about connecting with people and experiencing the culture and being open to the unexpected. And sometimes the best journeys are right where we are.
Yeah, exactly. Think about your own neighborhood. What are those hidden gems right there? An old building, a bookstore with a story, a family restaurant, that's been there forever.
I love that. Adventure can be anywhere, right? We just have to slow down and really see it.
And maybe you'll find your own Butterslip Lane, a place with history, creativity, and a real sense of community.